A curved blade, parting incense mists. Guan Yu appears as the anchor symbol, a general of the three kingdoms whose image transcended history and became a popular cult as Guandi, patron of loyalty, justice, and righteousness. In the story, we see the guandao gleaming alongside his long beard, an instant icon that sums up his aura of honor. The cultural contrast is clear. In the West, the warrior saint is the exception. In China, the fusion of martial art and moral virtue makes Guan Yu a civic religious figure, present in temples, businesses, and even barracks. His role in the novel Romance of the Three Kingdoms crystallized a Confucian ideal of yi, righteousness, shaping centuries of collective imagination. A rare curiosity. In many temples, Guandi is invoked not only for protection, but also as an ethical arbiter in commercial oaths, signaling that contracts are also moral pacts. His helmet, green cloak, and stern gaze tell a story of moral authority that inspires police officers, merchants, and martial artists. If Guan Yu is the saint of loyalty, who echoes him in real history with an oath engraved on his body?
4 ideograms sewn into the skin. Yue Fei emerges as Guan Yu's symbolic counterpart. Both embody fidelity. But while Guan Yu was deified by popular culture, Yue Fei became a dynastic patriotic standard, shaped by the Song dynasty's trauma against Jing invaders. The duality is rich. One is a god-judge of small and large everyday loyalties. The other is a tragic human, a soldier-poet, whose biography demands posthumous justice. Ancient writings show that his virtues are discipline, fidelity, and loyalty to the state, values that resonate in military academies and schoolbooks. Yue Fei symbolizes the notion that righteousness costs dearly, sometimes even life itself. A rare curiosity. Accounts of the Serve Loyally tattoo vary between chronicle and legend, but the symbol has overcome all doubt, becoming a visual emblem in banners and modern reinterpretations. If these two display loyalty on a moral scale, who embodies the tactical prowess that saves lives in the chaos of battle?
A white horse cutting through smoke, a spear like a horizon. Zhao Yun, known as Zilong, becomes the ideal model of bravery. Dexterity without ostentation, courage without bravado. In the imagination of the three kingdoms, he is the omen of the perfect hero. Swift, calculated, loyal to the core of Liu Bai's clan, but above all to the protection of the defenseless. Legends celebrate his rescues in the field, where strategy and composure replace brutality. Chronicles and literary novels intertwine, creating an archetype of an ethical and efficient knight. In visual rituals, Zhao Yun appears with a long spear and a white horse, a clean composition that communicates spatial mastery and timing. Interesting fact: certain narratives highlight his ability to maneuver alone in saturated environments, predating the modern concept of an agile task force. He is the living aphorism of tactics. Speed is compassion when it saves. But where there is virtue, there is temptation. And there are heroes whose greatness borders on the abyss of arrogance. Who bears colossal glory and a broken destiny?
A broadsword reflecting flames, a king without a crown, only destiny. Xiang Yu, the hegemon king of Chu, is the tragic star whose blinding light attracts. He embodies heroic ambiguity, an untamed martial genius, a strategist with volcanic charisma, capable of legendary victories and decisions that seal his own end. His nature was duplicitous and benevolent with his own, terrible with his enemies, magnanimous one moment, Ruthless the next. The narrative of seduction and fall surrounds his relationship with power. He is the hero who could have unified China, but whose passion and pride drag him into the fires of fatal choices. In reenactments, operas and films explore his farewell to Yu Ji, a scene that imprints an epic emotion on the collective memory. Interesting fact, accounts of incendiary punishments and tactical destruction surround his myth as a warrior of fire. Some seduce with greatness and fall. Others haunt like the very face of martial fear in the statistics of death.
A chin helmet under a canvas of casualties, numbers that weigh more than steel. Bai Qi, Qin's general, embodies the collective fear, not of mythical monsters, but of the mechanics of total war. At Changping, his victory is strategic and haunted by accounts of massacres on a scale that transformed the countryside into a graveyard of dynasties. Strict formations, iron discipline, a human chessboard moved with cold, mathematical precision. Once the consolidation of Qin demanded ruthless efficiency, and Bai Qi became the symbol of the cost when tactics yield to compassion. Peasants used talismans and funeral rites that were not enough against statistics, but collective memory sought moral amulets, stories of belated clemency, doubts about orders, debates that humanize the inhuman. Bai Qi's story is a dilemma, with various passages representing him as a benevolent general and others as lacking any humanity. After fear comes protection. Who raised shields against pirates and reinvented infantry to save the coast?
Ranks like mandarin ducks, weakness becomes strength when they learn to swim together. Jiguang, a Ming hero, reshapes the infantry and transforms peasants into conscious cogs of a fluid martial body. The coast, vulnerable to Wukong piracy, becomes a laboratory of innovation. Discipline, rhythmic training, and mandarin duck formation convert panic into the promise of security and prosperity. Trade breathes a sigh of relief. History tells us that each enemy incursion is a lesson that perfects tactics, building a reputation as a guardian. Cities use symbols to protect ports and protect markets, warehouses, and families, allowing wealth to circulate. Jiguang's manuals inspire wushu schools and reenactments. Modern tactical designers admire his language of training and morale management. What you don't know is that the duck metaphor isn't about fragility. It's synchronicity. The group moves, turns, and closes flanks with economy of movement. But before the modern craze for uniforms and parades, where did the routes and embassies that stretched China to the west originate?
A seal on the sand, caravan ropes ringing like bells. Ban Chao, a Han officer, is the logistical route that plants flags on the Silk Road. His warfare is diplomacy with blades. Operations in the West, tribal management, alliances, and surgical pressure that keep vital corridors open. Some stories report that ostraka, seals, and coins echo his presence in oases. Each courier post is a ritual artifact of state, where news and goods become power, between greed for profit from trade, fear for ambushes, and power to negotiate peace or siege. Ban Chao is the invisible hand that keeps the empire breathing, even in the desert. Maps with route lines inspire cinema and design. Comics and games transform caravans into survival narratives. But what you didn't know is that the maxim, "throw down the brush and take up the spear," attributes to him the decision to act when pure diplomacy fails. The pen needs the gladius as its shadow. And since the art of tracing paths frightens spirits of isolation, Who is the young meteor that seals the border with lightning victories?
Statues of horses running on stone, dust turning into ritual. Huo Qubing, a Han prodigy, closes the arc with the Blix against the Xiang Yu, etching the myth of the active frontier into the landscape. His meteoric career legitimizes practices of deep reconnaissance, extreme mobility, and concentrated strikes that echo in later doctrines. Traditions arise from this. Shrines, tombs, and reliefs celebrate the ideal of martial youth that protects expansion. Civic pilgrimages and school narratives keep alive the memory that the periphery shapes the center. Today, there are still parades that emphasize cavalry, films that romanticize maps with arrows heading west, debates about offensive preventive strategy, all draw from the same symbolic jug. And here we return to the symbol of loyalty, inaugurated by Guan Yu, now read in light of Huo Qubing's frontiers. Loyalty is not just a static oath, it is a movement that crosses harbors, Qi Jiguang, deserts, Ban Chao, and ethical dilemmas, Bai Qi, tempered by virtues, Zhao Yun, and tragedies, Xiang Yu. And so the cycle returns to the wingless ruler, the moral law that escorts the blade.